Tech News reporter Carla Sanchez. A couple months ago, Tech News held a press conference with Syracuse City Mayor Stephanie A. Miner. She was first woman elected mayor November 3, 2009. In her role in office, she cut city spending by $2.4 million. She also supports the Say Yes program we have here in Central New York. Here are some of her thoughts on gun violence and some updates on the ITC building.
There was the shooting of Chiari Blue on Thanksgiving weekend, and as a way for retribution, although Chiari was not a gang member, he was friends with people who were in gangs. Those gang members went out looking for the rival gang members. By the time young people pick up a gun and are in gangs, there's been a whole bunch of failures in the system. So what I am doing, along with a number of people in the city of Syracuse, we're looking at trying to patch together to save families and children from all of those failures that caused them to get there. So I think that really comes in two different kinds of categories. There's prevention, and then there's suppression. So let me talk about prevention, which I think is much more important. Prevention is making sure that that there are positive activities for young people to do, that there are positive role models for young people, that we have active parks, active groups in there, that we have people coming in and talking to families and children about the aftermath of violence, because violence breeds more violence. If you do not deal with it, and the trauma in particular, in a progressive and healthy way, then that trauma gets manifested, and inevitably what we find is that the people who are shooters have witnessed shooting or have been victims of shootings before they picked up the gun. We have a responsibility to renovate as many schools as we can to impact as many students as we can. So the decision was made to look at, we have a certain amount of money and we have huge needs. How can we take that money and use it to impact the most number of students in the most meaningful way? Using that criteria, the Joint Schools Construction Board said that the Greystone building could not be renovated because we could not afford to do it. Instead, they scaled it back to do Central Tech at the back of the building. And we have bids out for Central Tech. Construction is going to start this spring. It's going to be a LEED Silver building. We feel very good about that. Has it been delayed? Absolutely. Is that delay unacceptable? Absolutely. But the reality of what I, as mayor, came in January of 2010, I think that the community and students in particular were overpromised. They were told, you're going to be in this building and it's going to be great, and it wasn't that simple, and they knew at that time it wasn't that simple. I have made a very direct commitment to the people of the city that I will not overpromise things and I will not sugarcoat the truth. So you will be in a new building, those of you who are not seniors this year. We are still having problems with trying to work out some of the logistics for the renovations of Dr. Weeks and H.W. Smith. But Fowler High School and ITC are on track to be fully renovated. Those of you who have read history will, this is a big question in history about whether it's the person that makes history or whether it's the time that makes the person. So, for example, if Winston Churchill hadn't been the leader of Britain in World War II, would Britain have been able to do what they did? If FDR had been here in the Great Depression, would our country have been able to survive? I have different ideas about that, but here's what I do know. There are moments in time where if people step up and do the right thing and are forward thinking, you can change the world.